I wrote it and I researched it and I practiced it like crazy, but it's then I watched everybody like talking at 1,000 miles an hour up there receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead.
That they are playing with us like this. There's no way that they're playing with us like this. This is not Jim Carrey.
I had a whole bunch of weird paranoid suspicions about what the hell was going on because there was a lot of stuff I couldn't understand.
Right.
And nobody was really bothering to explain it to me.
They don't.
And and I formed a bunch of opinions about the town and about the people in it that were like, surely that couldn't be, because the whole place can't be like, weird town.
Guys, the internet is currently obsessed with a new mystery, whether Jim Carrey is still Jim Carrey. Fans watched him in Paris and they believe they saw someone else. Was it plastic surgery, a mask, or even a clone? The theories went viral. Then Mel Gibson stepped in and exposed the secret pressure Hollywood demands on people to stay young, and how the industry convinces stars to alter their faces just to keep working. But here's the thing that's leaving fans divided. Jim Carrey cried on stage. He even thanked his family in flawless French. Then he walked out to his fans and smiled. How could a clone possibly do that? So which is it? Was that a different Jim Carrey, or did the industry change him against his will? Tonight we look at the footage, the theories, and the toll Hollywood takes on the celebrities we love, because sometimes the truth is sadder than the conspiracy.
I'd had a gut full of the whole industry. I mean, it's a very strange place, Hollywood. But it's an odd place. And you imagine all these horror stories there that you think, boy, it seems as if I'm being sacrificed over here. No, that couldn't be true. And then you realize that it is true.
On February 28, 2026, Jim Carrey walked the red carpet at the 51st César Awards in Paris. He was there to receive an honorary award for his lifetime of work in cinema. But within a couple of minutes after Jim arrived at the awards, the whole internet was talking about him. Now, Jim Carrey is a huge celebrity, but the buzz he generated that day was insane.
Apologizing now for his poor French.
Comment était mon français?
Now, the thing that had people talking was his face. It looked different, almost as if he was somebody else completely.
They're receiving their awards, and I was like, I'm dead.
Jim's face appeared smoother, his facial features looked tighter, and his overall appearance almost unfamiliar. Now, fans who had seen him in public just 2.5 weeks earlier noticed the difference immediately, and the internet erupted. People are completely blind. Jim Carrey was deleted. This is not Jim Carrey. Hollywood is sick. Can the real Jim Carrey please stand up? Jim has to come out and say that's not me then, but he is not. They must have got to Jim. Nobody has seen him in years, right? Now, the internet was completely divided on whether or not that was the real Jim. Some dove headfirst into theories that ranged from the plausible to the surreal. There were rumors about Jim having plastic surgery. Others went as far as to claim that that was a Jim Carrey body double in a hyper-realistic mask. But as the conspiracy corners of the web insisted, a theory far stranger began to take shape. What is that wasn't Jim Carrey at all, and he had been replaced by a clone. Now, to make things even more complicated, a drag artist named Alexis Stone posted a photo of a prosthetic mask and false teeth, claiming he was behind it all. The post went viral, but AI detection tools later flagged the image as 97% likely to be digitally altered. And the Caesar Academy confirmed it was really Jim Carrey himself at the award show.
A rep for Jim confirms to ET it was indeed just Jim who attended the award ceremony. And if you need more proof, a representative from the Caesar Awards tells us Jim was there with his loved ones, longtime publicists, and 12 close members of his inner circle, and calls all the fuss online a non-issue.
However, amid all the chaos and clone rumors, Mel Gibson looked at the same footage and saw something the internet had missed. According to Mel, Jim's appearance was not a conspiracy, but rather a symptom of the pressure Hollywood places on its stars to remain young. The unspoken demand to freeze time, to fight age, to alter yourself just to keep working in an industry that discards its own without hesitation. And yet, Carrey himself seemed at peace with his new look. He delivered an acceptance speech in fluent French, a language he had practiced for months. He thanked his daughter, his grandson, and his partner. Then he walked out to fans afterwards, signed autographs, and when one person shouted, "Every fake news is saying you are not Jim Carrey," he simply smiled and kept walking. But if we really think about what Mel Gibson said about this whole drama, then you have to wonder, what does it cost for a person like Jim Carrey to stay in this industry? And who pays the price?
Got really dressed up for the occasion. You look good.
No,
Was that an accident?
I didn't get dressed up.
Who did?
There is no me.
There's no you.
No.
We're not here. This is a dream.
There's just things happening. It's like icons. Do you believe in icons? I don't believe in personalities. I don't believe that you exist, but there is a wonderful fragrance in the air.
Anyway, Mel Gibson has never been known for holding back. Whether you love him or hate him, you will have to admit that he speaks what he sees. And when he looked at Jim Carrey's transformed face, he saw a pattern of a system he knows too well. Why do celebrities or those of his status do this to themselves? Mel said, "I totally understand if you want to get maybe a hair transplant or a little something done here and there, but what happened to Jim Carrey's face?" Gibson acknowledged what many in Hollywood have been saying for a long time, that minor procedures are one thing, but what Carrey appears to have undergone is something else entirely, and it's part of a trend Gibson believes needs to stop. He pointed to a troubling dynamic behind the scenes. According to Mel, producers and studio executives, the people with real power who hold the keys to careers often manipulate actors by promising roles or threatening to take them away based on appearance. Change your face, they say, and we'll change your future. Gibson called this practice both manipulative and destructive, not just because it alters bodies, but because it alters lives. Careers hang in the balance. Mental health deteriorates, and the actor, caught between aging naturally and aging out of the industry, often makes choices they later regret.
A lot of people are asking me to comment on Jim Carrey's appearance, and you can see this is him in 2006, and apparently this is him now. He appears to have had an endoscopic brow lift, as evidenced by his brows being higher than before and his hairline being back a little bit. I also think he may have had some Botox injected into his forehead and an upper blepharoplasty. You can see how his eyelids are significantly more open than they used to be. He also may have had a mid-face and a lower facelift, lifting both his cheeks and the lower face and jowl region. And it does appear he's had some fat grafting into his cheeks.
According to Mel, viewers would rather see actors age naturally, gracefully, and authentically. The obsession with youth is driven not by fans, but by the gatekeepers who decide who gets seen and who gets shelved. Jim Carrey's face is not just a personal choice. It is a product of a system that rewards conformity and punishes age. A system where producers hold the power to reshape not just careers, but the very faces of the people who make them successful. But now, if we take into consideration Mel's words, then the question is no longer whether Carrey changed, because it is clear he did. The question now is, who asked him to, and what happens to those who refuse? Now, for argument's sake, we have to consider another layer to this story that the clone theorists have missed. Not because they're looking in the wrong place, but because they're looking at the wrong thing. You see, not long ago, Jim Carrey sat on a Jimmy Kimmel couch and did something unusual. He delivered a cryptic critique that was pointed, unfiltered, and aimed directly at the heart of Hollywood's power structure, the Illuminati.
I'm tired of the secrets and the lies. It is the secret symbol of the Illuminati, and you're a part of it, and it is the all-mocking tongue.
According to Jim, that day he was exposing the secret manipulation of public consciousness that had allegedly been going on for years. But this story gets even weirder. You see, despite how it might look on TV, Jimmy Kimmel is actually a pre-recorded TV show. So a lot of editing and fine-tuning goes into the show before it ever gets on TV. Now here is the thing, all those laughs during Carrey's talk, well, they were allegedly added in post-production. Those who were there say the audience didn't laugh at all. My dad was there was no laughter there, it was added to cover it up. Thanks to Jim for putting his life in danger to say this. I was in the crowd that night, no one was laughing. In fact, people looked really scared. He exposed the truth, but when added laugh effect, it turned into a funny show. People still don't believe this is real.
The whole Jim Carrey thing that's blowing up right now, that 1000% is not Jim Carrey.
I knew it.
Jim Carrey right now, the Jim Carrey that everybody's suspicious about, he looks a lot like this actor that passed away. I think literally last year.
Okay.
His name is Val Kilmer. He was in Top Gun. This guy, look.
Does he not look like? I have seen that.
Right?
Never mind. Yup.
But
So you
he's
think
a very famous actor. Look. Bro.
Oh, that's Jim.
Bro.
That's Jim.
Jim Carrey from years and years ago. He's always been trying to expose the Illuminati.
Facts.
He did it on Jimmy Kimmel.
I know. They literally had to delete the episode. I mean, not delete, but they had to put laugh track over it because it was so awkward.
He's probably like the most, I don't want to say like woke, but like he's woke celebrity talking about all of the things that he's trying to uncover.
Yeah.
And pretty much tell the regular people what was
that moment on Jimmy Kimmel's show seems to have struck a nerve. Now, years later, Carrey re-emerges with a dramatically changed appearance, and some can't help but connect the dots. Not everyone who criticized his look was simply reacting to his face. Some had taken issue with his words and his outspoken remarks, Jim's willingness to name what he saw as the rot beneath the glamour. But of course, there are simpler explanations, and the plastic surgery rumor is the most widely speculated cause. But some have suggested an accident or a medical condition with makeup was used to cover the effects. Post-surgical swelling could explain Jim Carrey's dramatic change, but there have been no official statements that have confirmed anything. The combination of aging, potential procedures, and natural healing might explain everything. But in a culture where every image is suspect, where every face is filtered, where AI can manufacture any reality, the simple explanation often feels like the least satisfying one. Now, things bring us to an obvious conclusion. Jim Carrey's face launched 1,000 memes, 1,000 theories, 1,000 debates about clones and conspiracies. But when the noise fades, what's left is something simpler and far more human. Mel Gibson looked past the altered features and saw a system, an industry that convinces its brightest stars that aging is a disease and surgery is the cure, a machine that offers careers in exchange for faces and then discards the people who made that deal. Jim Carrey stood on that stage in Paris and accepted an award for a lifetime of work. His face may have changed, his heart clearly had not. This story is not really about whether Carrey had work done. It's not about clones or masks or conspiracy theories. It's about what we demand of the people who make us laugh. It's about the price of staying visible in an industry that worships youth and fears wrinkles. It's about the pressure, real, relentless, destructive, that convinces artists to alter themselves just to keep working. Should actors be allowed to age naturally without fear of losing their careers? Do audiences truly demand eternal youth, or is that a myth perpetuated by the gatekeepers who control the casting calls? And what responsibility does the industry bear for the faces it reshapes, the bodies it alters, the souls it leaves behind? There are no easy answers, but the conversation Mel Gibson started about manipulation, about pressure, about the human cost of Hollywood's beauty standards deserves to continue. Did Jim Carrey simply make personal choices about his appearance, or does his transformation reveal something darker about the industry he's called out for years? Should Hollywood change how it treats aging actors? The comments are yours. Let me know what you think. Till next time, bye.